welcome to Wednesday's Words of Wisdom. I'm Minister Mike Hogan from Murray Hill Christ Community Church, where Reverend Roderick E. Pinckney is pastor, and Pastor-elect Sister Latanya Harper Carter is assistant pastor. We're getting ready and getting close to the Christmas season. We're just a couple of days away now. And as we approach this season, yet another Christmas season, the spirit of giving is on our minds and on our hearts. It is usually during this time that we think more clearly about the ones that are close to us, special people in our lives, and fortunate that they are fortunate enough to share with them. It's also a time where individuals who may be disconnected from loved ones or who may be experiencing hardships find this time most difficult. This is when we as believers must remember two things: that God has given us two gifts. Some of you may know what we're talking about. During this time, we always talk about God's gifts and what he did for mankind. As we speak about it so often, especially during Christmas, sometimes we don't connect and tend to miss the magnitude or importance of what he's given us. We were given the gift of salvation through the gift of love. God looked on mankind and prepared a way even before the foundation of the earth. We have a lot of people in the world today that are not connecting to the source, that's God. Whether it's from circumstances in our lives, his gifts of love and salvation are always there, just waiting to be accessed. God has always something in the natural to display something in the supernatural. Let's talk about electricity. Electricity, what is it? It is a power. Through this power, electricity, we power our lives, we power our tools, our instruments. Hospitals operate. Road signs are there for our travel, signaling the way, vehicles for transportation, and we heat our homes. This power is available to all who connect with it, no matter how many houses, tools, instruments are using it. There's a virtually unlimited supply of power. Even if it's untapped or unmanaged, it's still there. It doesn't run out. No matter how many times the power is divided, the wattage, the power is always the same in every outlet everywhere. The ability to harness electricity is an achievement that improves the quality of our lives. And since its power is every facet of our lives, we see what immediately happens when it's not available. The other evening, as I got ready for bed, I do like most of us do. I scroll, I look through my phone, and then I plugged it in to get ready to go to bed. As I lay down, I must have been very tired that evening. As I fell asleep, I fell hard asleep, only to awaken to my wife asking, was I going to work? Apparently, I'd overslept. I plugged in the power to the phone, but this was not connected to the source. The electricity was still there, I just was not connected. As a result of the disconnect, I was late for work. We are so used to electricity being available for us that we are surprised when it doesn't operate as we expect. Based on everything that we've experienced in the past, we have an expectation, a faith, if you will, on how things should operate. God gave man the gift of knowledge of how to harness and regulate that power. This electricity is powerful and helps improve our lives. That power is covered by an insulator, which protects us from being consumed. And why do I say all this? Because God is all powerful. God, who is all powerful, can have no fellowship with fallen man, with sin. If we were in his presence, we cannot even exist. His very presence would just destroy us. That's what makes God's gift so amazing. He gifted us in such a way that we could receive his gifts and be with him and not be destroyed. Through our mediator, Jesus the Christ, who is fully God, but is covered by the insulation of humanity, being fully man, we are not consumed. God gave us two gifts in order to improve the quality of our spiritual lives and have it affect our physical lives. There are the gift of love and the gift of salvation. He gave the gift of love in order to give us the gift of salvation. He made it available for us. But just like that power source for my phone, if we don't connect with it, we can't experience its benefits. The power of God and his gifts are always there. He is Alpha and he is Omega. He's the beginning and the end. He transcends time, and his gifts to us transcends time. He got us gifts before we were even created. 1 Peter 1:18-20 NIV. For you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver and gold that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your ancestors, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect, who was chosen before the creation of the world, but was revealed in these last times for your sake. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. We have to connect with what God has provided for us. God gave, and who could outgive God? I love to see beautiful gifts that are given out and how they are wrapped and how people's eyes light up when they're opening something that is just for them. God gave us those gifts that were wrapped in the person of Jesus the Christ with a bow of grace and mercy. Because of God's gifts, the same salvation that was made available, and no matter how many times that salvation is shared, it is not diminished. Just like that electricity, no matter how many times it's shared, it's not going to diminish. God's love is unlimited, and so is his gift of salvation. During this time, let us remember to continue to pray for those that are going through hard times, and not just during this season, but daily. If we could connect with them, let's do so. Remind them that the love of God is always available. With Christmas being just 2 days away, let us remember that the gifts that God gave to us, that we may have heard this many times over during this season, but we can't diminish the significance of God's action towards a fallen man. Let us understand the significance of the gifts that God gave us. Psalms 8:4-5, New King James Version. What is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You know, the angels marvel at what God has done for us. He wrapped himself in humanity in the form of God the Son. He was born among us. He walked among us. He saw our ways, experienced what we go through, things in life, such as society, such as being around in churches, such as family, and still made a decision that he wanted to give to us. He wanted to give us the gift of salvation. That alone should just put us in awe. So if God looks at us so special that even the angels marvel, what does that tell you of how we need to be with each other? Jesus is the source. We are the only ones that could say that Jesus shed his blood for us. We were given gifts that we can share with as many people as possible, and it still won't be less than it was before. It will not lose its value despite how many times it's been given out. God's love. His gift of love gave us the gift of salvation. Let us always be in remembrance of what God has accomplished for us, from the opportunity for us by his Son being our reconciliation to the finishing by his death, burial, and resurrection. Let us remember that the love he shared for us freely is what made the gift of salvation possible and available. Just like electricity doesn't run out when we share it and still has the same power, neither does God's love. This Christmas, let us truly celebrate what has been given to us and provided for us. Gifts like the one we were given cannot be earned. As a matter of fact, gifts are not earned. They are freely given. So let's accept it and pass it to others. This has been Minister Mike, Wednesday Words of Wisdom from Murray Hill Christ Community Church. We hope that you can join us live on Facebook at 10 a.m. on Sundays. And we are located at 3548 Gilmore Street. You can come into the building. We wear our mask. We just love to see you there. Thank you for supporting this ministry. If you'd like to support our ministry, you can text 77977 and put MHCCC in the body, and you can connect with us and help support this ministry. We thank you.